everyone. This is Reagan and Corey from the Watify team. We are here to bring you the first installment of what we're going to be calling the Watify Insider Series. As Watify team members, we have this incredible opportunity to be in close proximity with some of the best minds in the fitness industry. And so what we want to do through these conversations is connect all of you with these experts to help bring you insights to grow, adapt, and hopefully thrive in the fitness industry and as fitness business owners.
Yeah, and for the inaugural episode of the Insider Series, we were fortunate enough to be able to sit down and speak with Matt Becker from Gym Lawyers. And the topic of the conversation with Matt was largely the one-click cancellation rule that is upcoming and may have some impacts on gym owners later this year.
Yeah, that is a huge topic right now amongst gym owners. People are trying to understand how this rule will impact them, when it will start to impact them, and if their current cancellation processes keep them compliant with this new rule. So I'm really glad Matt was able to break this down in such a digestible way.
Yeah, Matt was the perfect person to speak to because he occupies this very unique intersection of having been both a longtime legal professional and a longtime gym owner. So his insights here were really valuable, and I think gym owners who listen to this hopefully will have some takeaways.
Yeah, and he's just fun. He's like the gym owner personality meets the knowledge of a lawyer. So it was a great conversation. And if you leave the conversation wondering how can you put this in place and you're a Watify customer, please just reach out to our team because we can help you with this. We have automations that will support one-click cancellation, so we can definitely take care of you there.
Awesome. And without any further ado, let's get into our conversation with Matt Becker from Gym Lawyers.
All right, we're live.
All right. Hey, everybody. I am Corey from Watify, joined by Reagan from Watify, and we're joined today by Matt Becker from Gym Lawyers.
Can I also be from Watify?
Yeah, look at that. Well done, sir. Well done. But thanks for being here, Matt. Really appreciate your time.
Of course, guys. Anytime at all. Love talking about this stuff.
So, Matt, in preparation for our interview, I was just kind of reviewing just your background, your biography, and graduated law school in 2009. You started your gym in 2013. And you were kind of operating in that simultaneous capacity of gym owner and legal professional for almost a decade, 7 years.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
I guess just chat a little bit more about yourself. Like, how'd you find yourself? This is an interesting intersection, right? to be a gym owner and a legal professional. So how'd you find yourself at that crossroads?
Yeah, I guess I came out of law school. I found out about CrossFit in law school. And so then when I moved from law school in West Virginia up to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I was like, well, I'm going to join a CrossFit gym. So I had no intention of opening a gym whatsoever. I just was going to try to build this legal practice in Pittsburgh and be like the next big, probably at the time, the next big criminal defense attorney, but like that path just diverts all over the place as well. So, started going to a CrossFit gym, got really interested in it. And the owner of the gym at the time started having a bunch of personal issues. So I had my level 1, like, I'm just going to get it because I want it, like, like, how many people did it? Like, I'm just going in for the education. Next thing you know, they have an affiliate. But, so I was just like, all right, I was the only other person in the gym at the time that had like their level 1. So I was like picking up a bunch of his classes, and my ex-wife said, like, if you're going to like basically run his, why don't you just go open up your own? And so that started like an 18-month search for a location, and then opened up my own, figuring I'll just have a place to work out. And if this thing essentially just ends up in the black every month, then I'm fine. Like I've got like this legal practice going. I'm not worried about this. I just want somewhere to work out. And then that was about the time that like a lot of the business like the barbell business and 321 Go project and those companies were out like teaching everybody that like, no, you actually have to treat this like a real business. And then I quickly found myself in 2 full-time jobs, basically.
Awesome. Well, would you say that when you were operating in that simultaneous capacity, like just the frequency at which as a gym owner, you came up against legal challenges, legal questions, things that, if you weren't you wouldn't have had a proper answer to. Is that what kind of had the light bulb moment of like, man, there might be a market opportunity here to provide, legal consultation and information to gym owners?
Yeah, it was not the light bulb moment. And I'll kind of get into what was, but it gave me confidence knowing that I was setting up my business correctly, being an attorney and then operating a business. and that's a frequent conversation that we have, especially when we start talking about wealth management and growth and everything with gym owners, especially newbies, is like, you've got to have this idea, like you're going to either open multiple locations or sell the gym or something at one point. And so we got to start it properly from the beginning. And that's a big soapbox that we get on, is like, you can't just not pay attention to your entity filings. You can't just ignore your corporate documentation and grab waivers and things offline and not work with somebody to negotiate a commercial lease, because your end goal is not to go bankrupt. Your end goal is not to get sued. Your end goal is to build a very wealthy, prosperous business. And so I just felt like, thankfully, I had that background and like, what does this look like from the legal perspective, that I didn't have to worry about that. And then I could just hire the business consulting companies to help me grow it really big, knowing that I personally was very protected.
Well, what was that light bulb moment then? What is that moment where you were like, man, I think I really have a niche here that might, be of great benefit to a lot of gym owners?
Post-COVID, I had, at that point, like right before COVID, I decided to shut down my legal practice. Because even though I had no intention of actually owning or running a gym, and then I ended up owning and running a gym, and then I had no intention of being a full-time owner, I ended up like enjoying gym ownership a whole lot more than litigating. So I was like, forget that. Like, everybody in litigation is miserable. They can just have their misery. And I'm going to go over here and work with people who are like happy to see me at 5:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much like right before COVID had shut down my legal practice, came out of COVID, just a gym owner. And within that first year was talking to Chris Cooper, who is a longtime well-known person with Watify, at Two Brain Business.
Yep,
and
we love Chris and Two Brain.
Yeah. And my gym had become a Two Brain gym at that time. And so he and I were just chatting, and he was the one who actually said, like, there is no legal consulting in the gym industry. There are a couple of little companies that are doing like form draftings and stuff, but there's nobody who is a gym owner and understands, like I said, like that legal part of it that can then bring that over to the gyms. And, that was, I guess that was really the light bulb moment where it was like, yes, he was kind of like planting the idea for me, but I was like, all right, well, I guess let's just see. Let's just throw some crap at the wall and let's see what sticks. If I just continue as a gym owner, then that's fine. If this doesn't really amount to very much, then that's fine. And 3 years later, like, I'm no longer a gym owner, and I'm just, I just consult with gym owners about the legal perspective of their business and wealth protection and buying and selling and everything involved with the legal perspective.
I love it. So you exchange a non-enjoyable form of misery in litigation and exchange it for an enjoyable form of misery in CrossFit, which is when you can you can be miserable with others at 5:15 in the morning, all working hard.
The two negatives became a positive in gym lawyers because I love what I do now. I work from home. I work with my wife. I just get to riff with gym owners all day long about their gyms, and then I get to help them, like, let's protect all of that money you guys are amassing or trying to amass. And it's much more, it's all positive now. No more misery.
I love that. I think it's an industry where people just like, they come forward with the best intentions and they hope that that's going to come back to them, and they're not prepared for a lot of things that can pop up. So took your skills and just amplified your reach of being able to help more people. And I think that's so great.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
So Matt, on that, kind of perfect segue there, it's with providing information to gym owners that they may not yet be aware of. We actually wanted to touch on a particular topic today. And the topic sort of note is the recent, piece of legislation called the FTC Click to Cancel. I guess educate me a little bit, because I don't know much about this. What is it in a nutshell, if you really had to boil it down to just like a general description of what this is?
Yeah. Well, the name says it. Click and you cancel, right? No, I'm kidding. So, all right. I'm going to coin this phrase. So anybody listening, feel free, hashtag it, whatever, that 2025 is going to be the year of the consumer. And we're seeing this, we saw it coming out of 2024, and we're seeing it big time in 2025, that like chargebacks are increasing. Federal laws are increasing, subscription type services are like really under the microscope of scrutiny right now. because there's some bad practices that are going on. And I'm not in the gym industry for the most part. Like, everybody's cool in the gym industry. It's these online subscription services. It's your streaming services that are really giving this all a bad name. And so the FTC comes out, and I actually think this started around 2023 and then got a lot of momentum in 2024 and is now implementing in 2025, that basically in its basic form says, as easy as you make it for somebody to sign up, you have to make it just as easy for them to cancel. So if I can go online, and I'm not picking on Netflix, that's just an easy example. And I don't know that they're in violation. I'm not picking on Netflix. I'm just using it as an example. If I go on Netflix and I can sign up simply by adding my credit card information and clicking subscribe, and we'll talk about like 10-day trials and stuff like that, then technically under the FTC rule, I should then be able to go back on Netflix's website or through my profile and click one button, click cancel. That's the ultimate like goal of this rule. The problem is it's trickling down in weird ways into the gym industry.
Got it. So generally making the process of canceling just the same as it was for signing up initially is a generally good way of thinking of it as a rule of thumb.
Yep. That's broad-based. That's what it is.
Cool. So let's talk now, like, what exactly is sort of what stage is this at? Is this like, when should gym owners be ready for it? Is it going to be implemented later this year? Are we already expected to implement it? Like, what's kind of the stage of its timeline that it's currently in?
Yeah. So end of October, it got voted on at the FTC and made an FTC rule. Okay. So that's when everybody like blew up about. There's like, oh my God, I have to change all my processes. And it was like, no, pump the brakes for a second. It's just a rule at the moment. Once the FTC passes something like this and becomes a rule, it then gets filed with what's called the Federal Registrar's Office. And that can take place anywhere between like 10 to 30 days from the date that it passes into a rule. Okay. From that point, it then has 180 days to become enforced. So within that 180 days, it can be implemented. People can challenge it. People can sue. People can try to stop it. Otherwise, 180 days from that point, you have to follow it. So where we are at the immediate moment is in January, it actually went into law technically, meaning the implementation process has started. And we all have until May 14th to make sure that our buying, selling, processing is basically implemented properly in compliance. There's been 3 lawsuits against it already. The rumor is that the current presidential administration does not like this rule, and the current head of the FTC voted in favor of the rule, and the second place guy in the FTC voted against it. And the rumors are the current administration is going to kick out the leader, the current head of the FTC, and move in the second place guy, and he'll then have the ability to crush it. So there's some debate out there about whether or not, like, come May 14th, are we actually all going to have to make a big change? Unfortunately, it's just up in the air.
But May 14th is that date right now, as things currently stand. That's sort of like the make or break, shall we say?
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay. Do you think, just kind of spitballing here, but are most gym owners already in compliance with this type of thing? Or do you see the vast majority of gyms are probably going to have to make some sort of alteration to their processes? Like, what do you really think the impact is going to be for most? Would you say the vast majority are going to have to make some sort of substantive change to either maybe their sign up or their cancellation on the back end?
Yeah. Let's just kind of talk a little bit about like what the law is actually going to require when it comes down to gym owners. Because I'll give you sort of like, I have to give the legal, it depends on that one, because CrossFit gyms are going to be different than yoga studios, which are going to be different than online, online fitness, which is different than, say, like the cheerleading gymnastics industry. Because there are technically 2 parts to the click to cancel rule. There's the negative option rule, and then there's the click to cancel. The negative option rule basically says that you cannot just automatically move somebody into a subscription-based service without getting an additional affirmative step from them. All right, let me give you an example. So if I sign up for your gym, and as part of signing up, I have to give you my credit card, and then I get a 10-day free trial. And if I do nothing by day 10, I'm going to roll into a month-to-month membership. Okay. Negative option. I did nothing. I took no steps. I'm into a membership. FTC is now saying can't do that. There has to be another affirmative step in there. So yes, you can take my credit card, but like 9 days in, I have to send you another email, some kind of notice that says, you are about to start into a subscription-based model. Please click and confirm that you still want to do so. Okay. So that's where we're going to see, especially like a lot of online, like I just signed up for an at-home kettlebell service to get a little variety in my workouts like 2 days ago. And it's still on Apple that I got a 7-day trial, and it'll tell me when my 7-day trial is up, but I'm waiting to see if Apple is going to send me any kind of additional affirmative step, because I would imagine I'm just going to roll right into a monthly on this.
Yeah,
so
that's
a lot of the
thing. So you will have to actually confirm at that point, not just a notice in an email, but actually a step to like confirm.
Yeah, so that's the understanding of it currently. And some of this stuff, again, can adjust by May 14th. But the understanding currently is there's going to have to be a lot of affirmative steps. It can't just be a notice, or it can't just be a do nothing. They have to take an affirmative step. Okay. So that's one way. On the back end, then we've got the click to cancel, which is what most people are really concerned about. And again, broad-based, you make it as easy to cancel as you did to sign up. So how is this going to impact? Well, again, if we look at an online-based service, yes, I only had to click through the App Store to sign up, and I can go on my phone and I can click anytime 1 day prior to my next payment and I can cancel it. Good. We're great. That's easy. We have gyms in like the gymnastics industry or the cheerleading industry. They use a lot of online signups, but then require email notification in order to cancel, or front desk form in order to cancel. That stuff's not going to be allowed anymore. Okay. So, the other place that we're going to see this, but they're usually in compliance, are the smaller gyms, your CrossFit gyms, your personal training, your functional fitness gyms that require some sort of a come in and sit down with me, whether it's like a no sweat intro or sweat intro, or in other words, you can't just sign up online. Those gyms are pretty much okay. And I'll say pretty much with a caveat, because if I require you to come in and sit down with me, but then I just require an email or a website form notice in order to cancel, that's a lot easier, right? Like, you don't have to come in and sit down with me. So from that perspective, those guys are good to go. Where we walk into issues there is, one is, I believe this is going to cut down notice windows. And we're seeing this in some states already. So if you only have to sit down with me for 45 minutes, why would you have to give me a 30-day notice to cancel? Okay. And the whole, if you give me less than 30 days, I'm going to take another payment thing. I think that's going to start to get kicked out of the window. It's going to be, you just, anytime prior to your next payment, you cancel, I have to honor that. The other place that we see this and the big impact is gyms who want to then have an exit interview with the client. So you submit through the website form your request to cancel, and the operating procedure is then I call you and say, hey, Reagan, so I see you want to cancel. Let's talk about what wasn't working for you, yada, yada, yada. And by the end of the call, my goal is to convince you to stay, right? It's okay to still do that, but the problem is most gyms currently are allowing me like doing that, and then I'm waiting till after my exit phone call to actually cancel you.
Yeah.
FTC says, no, can't do that now. You can have the exit interview, but you have to affirmatively cancel before the call and confirm that with the client. Then you can have the exit interview with the client, essentially to try to convince them to come back.
I see. So how does this affect like contracts and agreements? So people who aren't doing month to month, maybe they're on a 6-month, they have some sort of written contract agreement.
Yeah, so they're going to just require a ton of disclosures within a membership agreement if you're going to try to do some sort of a multi-month. If it's like a you're signing up for 26 weeks, but you're going to continue to pay in 4-week installments. I don't think those are going to be permitted anymore.
I see.
Because again, you can't lock them in for 26 weeks. And if you are going to try to lock them in for 26 weeks, usually you're going to require an exit by like some sort of a fee, like an early termination fee, which means it's not as easy to cancel as it was to sign up. So paid in fulls, they're just going to be the beast that they always are. And we can go down that rabbit hole if you would like. They're always just going to be a pain in the butt. They're not necessarily going to violate because it's not a subscription-based service. Then they've already paid in full. They're just using the membership.
Got it. Lots to unpack there, but one area I kind of wanted to zero in on a little more, Matt, is let's say somebody does offer online signups. So you can go to the website, they can go through the sign-up portal and immediately enter their payment information and sign up for a monthly membership or what have you via the gym's website. Because they can go through that process online, when it comes to the cancellation, does adding a cancel form to the website suffice as long as the gym owner is actually canceling on the back end? Or like, let's say they fill out a Google form and that issues a notification to the gym owner that this person would like to cancel their membership effective immediately, provided that they actually cancel it on the back end, or does it actually need to sort of mechanically cancel that right away as soon as that button is clicked? How's that kind of operating with this new legislation?
Yeah. Our understanding currently is that it literally has to be an automated process. So if I don't have to deal with you in order to sign up, then I shouldn't have to deal with you in order to cancel. And by requiring somebody to go through a website form and then wait for the gym owner to take action, that's where that's where you're going to end up in violation of the FTC, because they don't want to have to rely on that, because then maybe I forget as the gym owner, or maybe I'm not a really good guy and I just I'm just going to ignore that form. Next payment rolls out. Okay. And that's what they're really trying to avoid with this stuff. So yes, if you allow somebody to sign up online and then submit a form to cancel, that form should then trigger an automatic cancellation.
Okay. And follow up on that, is that on a case-by-case basis? So let's say client Corey comes in and he does a no sweat intro and I go through the process and that's how I cancel. But client Reagan comes in and she just signs up on the website. Are there different provisions because we signed up in a different manner now? So like I could theoretically, I shouldn't have to cancel online because I didn't do that, whereas she did. So she must have the same ease on her side.
Yes, technically you're right. But from a gym owner's perspective, I'm not going to recommend you do that, because that's going to create all kinds of problems when, Corey, you're pissed and you want to get out easily. And I'm like, you have to come in. You're like, but my friend Reagan doesn't have to. I'm like, well, she signed up online. That is not a conversation that gym owner wants to get into, because there's your chargebacks and your 1-star reviews. And yeah, that's not going to be a good situation. So, putting my strict legal hat on, if you're going to make it that easy for somebody, make it that easy for everybody.
Okay, cool. Well, and how could folks keep up to date on this? Like, is there someone who's doing really good reporting on this? Or is there a resource that's available online where they can kind of keep up to date if they do, kind of eyeball that May 14th?
May 14th.
Yeah.
Yep.
That May 14th date as kind of like a make or break. Like, how can they kind of keep up to date as to what the status of this whole policy is going to be?
Yeah, you can go online and you could Google it and get updates. Like, nothing's really happening at the immediate moment. So if you don't want to have to actively go searching, like, just promote ourselves for a second, go on the website, gymlawyers.com, and sign up for our newsletter at the very bottom of the front page. Because we'll keep this up to date, as we start to approach May. Those who get, if somebody's watching or listening who got the newsletter last year, they'll know, like, with that whole beneficial owner information reporting, like around Christmas, my admin and I were like sending out every other day was like a new email newsletter of like, yes, you do have to sign up for it. No, you don't. Yes, you do. No, you don't. So we'll be as up to date. It'll be like the, a party here coming up in the first half of May, figuring out like what's going to happen on May 14th. So we'll keep everybody up to date.
Awesome. And we'll definitely put a link to get signed up with that newsletter in the description of the video, so folks can just go down and get that information about this legislation through the lens of a gym owner, not just generally. So that'll be a super great resource for them. Cool. Now we zoomed in. Let's kind of zoom out again, Matt. A couple general questions for you on the way out here. We wanted to run by you. Just do some role play here. So let's say I'm a gym owner, or even back up a little bit. Say I'm a hopeful gym owner. I am a would-be gym owner. I'm going about the process of starting this business. I haven't owned a business before. Certainly haven't owned a gym business before. I know it depends on so many variety of things. But if I forced you, if I don't know, if you had to do like 10 friends in a row or something, that was the punishment of this circumstance. What's the 80-20 to focus on for that new gym owner from a legal perspective, just to make sure that at least, their big potential issues are covered and they could sleep just a little easier at night knowing that some of those boxes have been checked?
Yeah. So the biggest one that we try to really push with gym owners, but there's just sort of, I don't want to say there's a lack of understanding, because that makes it seem like the gym owner is like dumb. And we're not saying that. You have to learn this stuff. And if you don't know this stuff, it doesn't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, we tend to just avoid it. But the most important thing for a new gym owner to do that 90% of them get wrong is setting up their legal entity. So whether that's an LLC or a corporation, those are the two primaries. Those aren't the only types of legal entities. But so many of them try to do it on their own. And then we come in later in the opening process or down the road after they're already open, and we audit it, and we're like, you've built your entire business on a crap foundation. Basically, the entity is meant to protect me individually and the assets, again, this wealth that we're growing, these assets that we're growing, the profits that come through the gym into my personal bank account. I don't want to then have to pay them back out to a lawsuit that hits my gym. So we create the legal entity to protect against that. And there are steps you have to go through. And gym owners love to pick and choose which steps they think are the important ones. And then we have to tell them, well, yeah, but this isn't discretionary. You don't get to pick and choose this stuff. Like, if you have to have, let's say, an operating agreement, it's not a sexy document to write. Like, it's not like, woohoo, I have an operating agreement, but you have to have it. So that's where most gym owners, whether they're new or even experienced gym owners, or even like expanding to other locations, that's where most gym owners go wrong from a legal perspective, is just not accepting that, like, this stuff is super formal. It does have to be done. And we're doing it from a perspective of trying to protect you, not just like scare you into saying, well, if you don't do this, then you're going to go under, type of thing.
And just hearing you talk, Matt, I'm just kind of realizing, like, if I were a new prospective gym owner and I was thinking about, making sure my legal bases are checked, it's almost just like I don't want to get sued type of thing, and just like protecting there. But what I'm hearing you say is that protecting themselves legally is also probably the most important thing they can do to set themselves up financially as well. And just like the intersection of those two things, it's not just, making sure I'm good legally. It's also setting yourself up to preserve your financial assets and hopefully just enjoy more wealth in the long term because you've done the right things at the onset.
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciate you picking up on that, Corey. But let me just kind of go down that rabbit hole for a second, because it does oftentimes feel like our message is just like, if you don't get your waiver, you're going to get sued. Well, I mean, that is like the message, but it's not the scare tactic. The idea is we don't start out, and Chris Cooper used to say this all the time, like, we don't start gyms as charities. We don't run a gym without the thought of making money. And so we love to then hire companies to help us make more and more money. And so we go from like making no money to all of a sudden maybe netting like $12,000, $15,000 a month. Well, we're like, great, that's awesome. And now I'm going to go open up a second location. And then I'm going to open up a third location. Then I'm going to sell it all. And I'm just going to go invest and not have to work anymore in my life. And that's great. That's a wonderful plan down the road. We have to start planning for that now. And we have to look at the wealth that we're trying to get. How do we invest that? How do we protect that? How do we isolate that? And there are ways in the legal system that we can do that. There are tax things that we can take advantage of. There are accounting rules that we can take advantage of. There are legal entities that we can take advantage of. Also, that we don't threaten our money. We don't put our money at risk. We don't give all of our money away. And when we get down to like the nitty gritty of this, and it's your first gym, what you have to do is you got to set up that gym so that we can maximize its profitability and its protection as much as possible. So are we building this on a legal entity that's actually sound? Are we signing commercial leases that are exposing ourselves through personal guarantees? Are we using shoddy waivers that the average gym lawsuit costs $75,000? So do we want, like, there goes your wealth.
Yeah.
You don't worry about that wealth you're trying to amass in a decade. Well, if you're operating a gym on a crap liability waiver, it's exposed. If you're running a gym on a membership agreement that is in violation of your state law, the state will shut you down and charge you with a criminal offense in certain states. Like, if you have employment issues and you don't have an employment agreement, well, there's an unemployment compensation claim. There's a workers' compensation claim. There's a improper termination claim. And these are all going to come at the gym owner and impact their potential for amassing that wealth. And so as long as we got this gym protected, all of that assets that they're building are great. And then we can work with the gym owner to say, okay, now put some of the money over here and put some money over here, and let's reinvest in your people so that we get a really good return on investment in your employees. And let's work on your standard operating procedures to maximize those. And then let's take this money and we're going to open up a second gym. We're going to isolate that from the first gym. So this one continues to grow, and then we can grow this one. And if this new one has a problem, that's okay, because the original one's protected. Still getting all your money from that, and you can still go on vacations because that one's still paying you money.
Awesome. And that's great insight for me. That's a line of thought that was not with me until we had this conversation. I wouldn't have thought. I would have just been that gym owner, be like, I got to get the waiver done so I'm not exposed, I don't get sued. But I mean, that would really motivate me as a new gym owner to be like, okay, not only is this a practice of protecting myself legally, but it's also a practice of wealth building and preservation. Mm-hmm. So that's really good stuff, Matt. I appreciate you going down that rabbit hole for us.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. I mean, we're coming up against the time we reserved you for, so we appreciate it, man. Where can folks, I know you got to get back to the work of reading all this legislation. Somebody's got to do it. You got to do it. So you're sacrificing yourself for the good of the gym owners. I appreciate it.
My pot of coffee and my nighttime stories.
Yes, indeed. But we're going to put some information down in the description, but how do you like to be reached out to, Matt? Is the best way to reach you just through the website, through your Instagram? How do you like to, folks, if they want to learn more about gym lawyers and what you do and what you can offer them, how do you like to be reached out to?
Yeah, let me be a politician and answer the question you didn't ask, and then I'll answer the question you did ask.
Go for it.
I always wanted to do this. One other thing I did want to make sure that gym owners understand is, yes, we're talking about the FTC rule, and we're talking about whether or not it goes into play on May 14th. Depending on your state, it doesn't matter. So many states are already passing laws that are mirroring or providing additional protection to consumers outside of the FTC rule. New York's popping in a law next month. I think it's Wisconsin or Minnesota has one that basically mirrors the FTC rule. Idaho has one, New Jersey has one, California has one. Lots of states are already implementing this stuff. So I just want to make sure that the listeners, get it, that like, oh, well, okay, I don't have to worry about this till May 14th. Well, yeah, you might already have to worry about this stuff. So yes, we're talking on a very broad federal level, but it could be impacting you already.
Interesting. So is it kind of like a case, Matt? Like, I know this is a general question, but like, this is the way the wind is blowing, it seems, right? Like if it's not from a federal level soon enough, it's going to be from the state level.
2025, year of the consumer. I'm Mark. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, could this be a local thing too? Like, is it possible that like a city government could even have a rule such as this?
Not really. There's certain things in certain states where it is governed more on the city or county level, but consumer protection as that area of law is 9 times. I never say definitively, so I will never say 10 times out of 10, but 9 times out of 10 is going to be covered on the state level, usually by the state attorney general's office. So it doesn't typically trickle down to, I can't think of an instance where it would be on a city level.
So federal or state level, but it does seem to be relatively inevitable just based on what I've heard you say. And yeah, it's, and I agree with you. I think that's, the year of the consumer will have multiple impacts, this being one of them.
Yeah, to your question, though, hold on. Let me answer the question I actually asked.
Yeah, sure.
The best way to get a hold of us is to go on the website. And I hate to just like push people into the contact, but honestly, like fill out the contact form. You'll be automatically forwarded to my scheduling calendar. You can grab 45 minutes to talk with me. It's free. Like if my cell phone is on the website, so like you can try to cold call me. I'm just going to set up an appointment with you. You can try to text me. That's fine. Like we can chat over text. I'm still going to push you into setting up an appointment. So that's just the easiest way to get 45 minutes in front of me, with my undivided attention.
That's awesome. People get so many emails. They need the email you're sending that keeps them up to date on all this stuff. The unsubscribe from that store sending you, marketing emails and get some useful information.
Yes, subscribe to the newsletter. That way you can stay up to date on this click to cancel thing, and you don't have to be the one reading these documents that Matt is reading.
That's right. I'll take them.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Matt. Real appreciate you joining us today. We'll put all your information down in the description, but we appreciate your time, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure. Always happy to come on and chat.
Thanks so much.
Take care, man.